Howdy all, Muglax Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright. I am headed out to grab some lumber, since I don't have any fuel in the old forge. And then my plan is to head out to hit the old quest there. Oh, you know what? I was gonna bump up my XP a little bit. I've never played it that way, but I feel like we're getting close to 18, and I'd like to see the gyrocopter before then. I just don't think at the rate that I'm gaining XP that I'm gonna see it, but I'll just wait till next time for that. We did play D&D this week, and it was a bit irritating. Today was or this week was exceptionally bad for how not to play the game, and maybe not exceptionally bad, but it was there were some moments in there, and we ended last session outside this evil temple, right? And it's the second to last dungeon, I believe, in the pack. And so, oh, you know what? I should totally grab my shinies to sell. Looking. Alright, I think that's all the shinies. Oh, and I should fix my gun here before I... you know, I might need some of those for my car as well. And so it started off alright. You know, basically we just... This is where you're at, and this is what you're doing. And so we, does it just take one to repair it? I mean, that'd be cool. Oh, it did. Wow. And so, as soon as we get there, he's like, so there's an evil darkness about this place, and so it reduces your dark vision to 40 feet. I'm like, oh, okay. And so then he has us look around. We play on Roll20, which has some features where, like, you can do dynamic lighting, which I like, because it gives control to the characters, and then the DM doesn't have to constantly be trying to figure out. What I don't like, and this is the problem, what I don't like is that our DM turns on the dynamic lighting, but then hides everything so that you can't see it. And so, like, you'll be, like, last night, or, last night? Yeah, last night's game. So here we are, we are looking around the front of this place, and I don't use it very often, but I've got a wand of detect magic, and so I used a charge on my wand of detect magic to see if anything in the front of the place was trapped or anything, and so he said that there was I could sense evil. That's not what the wand does, but I could sense evil and a low level permeance of magic everywhere. I'm like, okay. He's like, but you don't detect anything strong right here from. I'm like, okay, okay. And and so we find a crevice. Now we can see 40 feet, and the crevice is about 20 feet from the outside into the inside of this building. And what am I doing here? I am finding the supplies. Okay. Seems like it might be up above here. So, a couple of different things I could do. I could explore the house correctly. Or we could... Oh, shoot, this isn't Minecraft. I just tried to shift. Oh, look, there's bars on the window. Oh, but you know what? That spot over there looks weak. So we could see... Actually, this whole wall here is weak. So we could see into the room from where we were at. No, neither one of that is something I want. This is the treasure room for this building, though. And strangely enough, it says the supplies are in here. Or in this area. Nope, no, we want your compound bow. I think that's just a block, that's not something I can look behind. And so, there's nothing in the room, right? And so he's like, so what do? You gonna go through the main entry, or are you gonna squeeze through this crevice? And I'm like, well, I think we should go through the fissure in the wall here. And then that way we can get like a little maybe back way into this place. And so we all agreed, and so we rolled for stealth, and so we move our tokens into the room, and there's nothing in the room. And so we're like, okay, well, we don't see anything in here, so we should probably... He's like, wait. I'm like, okay. And oh, weird. You know what? There's a... What, buddy? And so, so then he loads the room after we're in it. And I'm like, ugh. And so the room is actually, it's not empty, even though we can totally see in the room before we entered. No, it's loaded up with a bunch of berserkers, and it's just a full block, yeah. A bunch of berserkers and direwolf, and so, but we can't see it until after we enter the room, and then he loads the room. But we can see in the room before he loads the room, right? I'm just like, it's gonna be one of those nights. Gonna be one of those nights And so every place we go, he doesn't load the room until after we enter, and every time we get attacked by something that we should be able to see before we enter the room, but he doesn't put down until after we enter the room, repeatedly. And and so we're going about doing our exploring, and eventually we came to a room, and now up to this point, I don't think we'd actually been attacked by anything up to this point, because we talked to those people in there, and they didn't want us to go through their room, so they told us we had to go back the way we came, and go around. And so we did, and then around actually led us to the other side of their door. Like, we went down a set of steps and we were on the other side of their door. I don't know why they wouldn't let us through, but they wouldn't. And so like we're talking to him, and he's like, all right, roll persuasion or intimidation. It's the exact same thing for my character. Either way. He's charisma based. Intimidation and intimidation and persuasion are both charisma based. Well, they don't have to be charisma based, but in the book they're charisma based, since there's no way we're getting non-charisma based rules for it. And so that says unlocked. And come on, open up. Man, it must be below me? It's probably like in the basement of this place, right? Or maybe up here in the attic. No, now we're not blinking. Jeez. And so, so we roll persuasion. We talk to them for a few seconds. They don't attack you because of your roll. And then when we're asked if we can just go through, he's like, oh, well, you gotta roll persuasion again. And it's like, he kept doing that too. We'd have to keep rolling over and over and over. And I get a message from the guy, he's like, how many times do we have to roll for this stuff? Like, keep going until we fail? Is that his goal? I'm like, yeah, isn't that normally his goal? And so we found a room, and like I said, up to this point we hadn't been attacked. We had a discussion. Usually we don't get to have those, so that was different. And so a discussion with the berserkers and their direwolf, and we went the other way so that they wouldn't be mad. And we entered the place, and we usually pick a wall when we dungeon crawl, and then we just follow it around and around and around. And so we picked a wall, and we started in, and the very first room that we came to was had a big hole in the bottom of it, like not in the bottom of it, but a hole through the floor. And so I was like, okay, so what do we see? And so he's like, well, you can't see anything. And so I'm like, okay. And he's like, so what are you gonna do? Are you gonna drop down into darkness? I'm like, well, I mean, I guess my wizard can throw some light down in there. And so then he describes to me what I'm seeing. After telling me that I can't see. And then when I tell him what spell I want to use, well, he tells us we can't see anything in the darkness. And then I tell him what spell I want to use. And then he tells me what I can see. And then says that I throw my fireball down in there. And I'm like, I probably wouldn't have thrown my fireball if I could see down in there. Or not fireball, firebolt. There's a big difference. Firebolt is a little tiny spell that doesn't cost you anything. Fireball is a giant spell. Whoops, that was a search, not a chop into pieces. Fireball is a giant spell that hits everything in an area. I definitely didn't do that one. My wizard actually doesn't know that one. I went with another. There's another spell about meteorites, minute meteors. That's it, minute meteors, which is similar, but requires more time to launch all the fireballs. Yes, yes. The wrench is clearly my weapon of choice here. Jeez. I'll tell you, my aim is terrible tonight. It's usually terrible. Who are we kidding? So, So while he, my guy suddenly throws a fireball for no reason down into a room that he can see that I was told I couldn't see when I said I was going to throw a fireball. And that's one of the things I despise about his style, is changing things after we make our decision. Giving us no information before we make a decision, and then telling us what happens and controlling our characters. And he did some horrible controlling of our characters, at least one of my characters last night, that was super irritating to me. And he's recently started on this thing where he's like, I can't be bothered to run everything, so you guys are going to have to... Okay, where's the way out of here? There we go. I gotta go back upstairs. There's an arrow on top of my thing. It's on this floor. It's not here, but I see there's a search thing here. And so, anyways, like I said, he told us we couldn't see. I said, oh, I'll throw some light down there. I'll drop a fireball or firebolt, and then he's like, well, you can see. I'm like, oh, you just told me I couldn't see. You can see a little bit down in there, and you can see that because we can see 40 feet, and suddenly it was not that far to the... nope, okay, that's not what I want. Somewhere is the thing, right? You don't suppose it's on that shelf I can't see? No, it's not. Okay. I didn't miss a hidden spot in this room. Nope. Alright, I think it must be... where was the... There was a door that was sealed that I didn't smash open. And I thought maybe I could just get around to... Well, this is weird and I haven't been in here. Who stacks their sofa on top of a thing like that? So we, you know, he's like, "Oh, will you throw your fireball down in there after describing what the room looks like, saying that I could see it because it wasn't that far down and it was well within our 40 feet of sight range." Dang it, where is that door I saw? It was sealed. I came up the stairs. I didn't go that way. Well, maybe there wasn't a door. Maybe I just imagined it. If I go up here, it tells me it's down. Weird. It's here somewhere. Okay, it's not here because it's not flashing. It's in here somewhere. I'm looking for warps in the wall. Oh, there was one that I didn't search. There's nothing in there, though. It wasn't in here. Maybe it's outside? I don't think it can be, but I definitely don't, I definitely don't see it on the inside. Okay, it's below me somewhere. Is that stone? And so it's like, "Oh, well, these three guys, they fly all the way up from down below before you can do anything." I'm like, okay, that's not how combat works. It's not how the game works. If something is going to attack us... Oh, is it? Okay, it's not down here. Dang it. Somewhere in this house... Oh! Somewhere in this house are supplies that I was told to capture. And I can't find them. And I keep getting distracted from my story, which isn't helping. So, we fight those things. It turns out they're immune to fire, so none of our fire spells, which both wizard types have. Oh, and then he does this thing, and I hate it. I have a melee character, and And so anything that can move different than on the ground always, always flies out of my range. Always. There's never a moment where they don't try to stay out of my range. And it drives me crazy. And so, uh, okay, it's not in this section. This is the hardest one of these to find that I have ever seen. I don't understand where it's at. Like, that's a block. Oops, I didn't mean to... Oh, no, it's down lower than this. And it's not over here. It's over here somewhere. And, so we kill the things, and then we debate whether we should go down, stay up. We decide to go down the hole, and so we go down the hole, and no, it's not blinking down here. There isn't that much house for it to be hidden in. Where is it? Okay, it wasn't in that box. It's not behind that chair. That rug is not really there. It wasn't in this box. That's a window. It wasn't in the bookcase. It's not behind the bookcase. It's not on the table. Okay. There's a slight color difference on these panels, and so I was... Oh! Ta-da! Wow. Oh, and then that's it. We can go talk to the trader. And so we're wandering around down in the lower level, and oh! And I was trying to remember what the deal was with the door. Oh, he told us that we couldn't use this spell magic on the door that was magically sealed. And that we either know the code word or I forget what else he told us. We could use the knock spell. He wanted us to use the knock spell, which unlocks magic doors. And I'm like, well, I don't have the knock spell. And he's like, well, the NPC wizard who's with you has the knock spell. And oh, and I think I talked about this last time. I think I discovered why he got rid of our NPC we were supposed to have and replaced her with this new one. Because there's a quest that can happen if you have him with you. Although I don't know whether that means we can't have both characters. But if we have this one character with us, he's gonna... Maybe if he catches on and reads the actual book instead of whatever he's doing, there's a quest to resurrect his sister from the dead, and he'll get the power while we're in this temple. Because I looked it up. I looked up to see what was supposed to be happening because it was so bizarre. And so we got into this room, and there's a giant statue in the middle of the room, and it talks to us, but we can't see anything, and so we're not even allowed to have a conversation, and it attacks us. And so there's this giant statue in the middle of this room, and we're behind a pillar, so technically we can't even see the statue at this point. And
I sure doubted it.
Ooh,
but
look at that. I can get a terrible auger or first aid bandages. Alright, let's see. You got anything good? I will go ahead and take the rest of these finally. And I think that's all you probably... Oh, I'll take this gunpowder. What's this? Increases damage to living beings. Oh, yeah, no. Not a lot of living beings going on in my world. Oh, that's everything.
Thank God you're done browsing.
I think I'm going to go to a different place for the next round here, just so I can get a different store, right? And so... we're standing there, and we're a good distance away from the statue, but spells have a pretty huge range on them. And so instead of starting combat, he shoots us with chain lightning. Now we're level 9, and the guy that attacks us is level 16. And so his first attack is a spell called Chain Lightning that can hit 4 people, and it does 8d10 damage. So somewhere between 8 and 80 damage. Now you can dodge it a little bit and take half damage from it. Luckily he rolled 44 damage because we'd already been damaged a little bit because the previous guys also went before combat started, and so yeah, he throws a chain lightning and nearly kills my wizard right off the bat. That'd have been fun. Already down a wizard, and then yeah. You know what? I don't need to go back to town. Or back home. I can go this way, I guess. And so, so then we get in the fight, and I'm like, can that guy even see us? Like, there's a pillar between us and him. And, he's like, oh no, he can see you. And even if he can't, he can chain it around the pillar. I'm like, that's not how that spell works. And so then I'm like, all right, whatever. So then I'm on our turns. I move my characters behind the statue. One of them only makes it to like the back behind the shoulder, and the other one makes it all the way behind the statue. And the one that makes it to just behind the statue, like if you're looking left, it would be just slightly behind you. He's like, oh, roll a charisma save. And I'm like, okay. And so I do, and it's huge. And because the guy's charisma based and has charisma saves, I think it was like a 28. And because he gets to add like 10, 4, 8, 12. 12 to his charisma saves now, and because he's got a 4, a +4 to charisma, and we just our proficiency is 4, so that's 8, and then he's a paladin, so he's got a bonus on top of that of 4. Am I going the right way here? I feel like I am not. No, I am. All right. And so I save against it, and then I'm like, can that guy see me? Because I'm no longer in front of the statue. He's like, oh no, he can see it. He has holes drilled, and he kept talking about a bug. I don't know what he was talking about, bugs. He's like, you can see 3 bugs, and it's not a bug, it's a fox. He even told us it was a fox, but he kept using the word bug, and I don't know what he was talking about. But he's like, oh, so there's holes, and I'm like, okay, because in the book there's the eyes are 2-foot circle carvings in the statue that it looks through, and it can only see in front of the statue, and so somehow that turned into holes all the way around it, so it could see in every direction. And so then when it was my wizard's turn, I was like, well, can I see him from here? And he's like, well, no, you can't see him from here because he's in the head. And I'm like, but you said there were holes. Can I see him through the holes? And he's like, no, there's just a couple of holes in the front of it. If I told you there were holes all around it, I misspoke. And so no, you can't see into the head. So I can't move far enough to get in front of the statue now. So I just moved far enough so I could see in the direction of the front of the statue, and then fired a AoE in front of the statue that it then turned out to be immune to acid. So my big acid attack spell was useless. And but then I did my favorite thing to do every time he does this crap. I mean, he didn't put the monster in the statue head, but he did have the monster attack us before we could do anything. And so my paladin can cast spells, and one of the spells he can cast is Misty Step. Misty Step lets him teleport 30 feet, so I teleported inside the head of the statue with him, and then he tried to get away, but I still had spells left, so I teleported on him and grappled, and well, looks like we're gonna do a fetch and clear.
Good job for some. It's rare to find honor.
And so it was pretty nice that he tried to get away. And then I cast air elemental, so I had an air elemental next to him, and that was the thing that irritated me. So I cast an air elemental, and I'll be quick with this part of the story. So we cast an air elemental, and then because I took so much damage, I lost control of it. And so when it came time to roll the air elemental's damage or saving throws or anything like that, it's no longer my creature, it's his creature. And he's like, can you just do that for me? Can you just do that for me? And I'm like, okay. And then when it came to, I summoned a new air elemental to fight for me. And so when it came time to roll saving throws for that air elemental, suddenly he's rolling my character's saving throws for me. And he rolled terrible both times. I think it got a 2 one time and a 6 the other. Not that that made that big of a difference to the fight, but it was irritating nonetheless for him to suddenly be rolling the dice for me. He wouldn't roll the dice for himself, but when it came time for mine, then he can find it in himself to roll the dice. Yeah, and he was doing the, I rolled a natural 20, but wherever he does his rolls, we can't see them, and so he just announces what his rolls are. Yeah, you did a really damaging spell to the bad guy, so he rolled a natural 20 to only take half damage. Oh, you did a really cool spell to, or no, you try to grapple him. I'll tell you right now, he rolled a natural 20 to defeat your grapple, so you're going to have to roll really high. How about a 28? Is that high enough? Oh, well, with a natural 20, he only gets a 21, so I guess your grapple takes effect. I'm like, yeah, it does. Yeah, so there's a lot of that last night. Alright, well, with that, I'm going to call it a day, so click like if you like, subscribe, share, and catch the next one. Hi. We'll talk to you later.